Okay. We will call the meeting of the Gloucester City Council for Tuesday, September 25th to order. First order of business is the flag salute and the moment of silence. So I'll ask Councilor Cox to lead us in the flag salute, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilor Cox, do you have a moment of silence honorary for us?
Unfortunately, I do. Tonight's moment of silence goes out to Tim Bean. He passed away unexpectedly. He was a very valued and loved member of the City of Gloucester employee list, and he left behind a wife and children, and we will miss him dearly. He was the custodian for this building and others, and I will very much miss seeing his giant smile every time I ran into him. So, rest in peace.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. First order of business.
The first order of business is oral communications.
Under oral communications, the public shall have the opportunity at every regularly scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not on our agenda. Oral communications shall allow any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, state their problem without debate, and the matter shall be referred to the proper agency through the office of the mayor. The resident shall be notified within a 2-week period relative to disposition of same, and a copy shall be forwarded to the City Council. Persons speaking under oral communications shall be limited to 3 minutes each. Council President shall not allow complaints as to individual performance. So is there anyone who wishes to speak under oral communication? Please come forward and state your name and address. And as I've also always been doing recently, is reminding people under oral communications we will be sticking to the 3-minute limit. Thank you. Yes.
Indeed, Susanna Altenburger. I was before you about 12, 13, 14 weeks ago. And normally the routine is when folks discuss something in oral communication, you would get some feedback from somebody within about 2 weeks in writing. That hasn't quite happened. So I repeat, you all have a copy of the 4-pager. If this business of the city is fishing, it is indeed this city's business, fishing. And as you know, we design boats. We've been working the issue of fishing, what's gone sideways, wrong, and tragically somewhere else for over 16 years on a voluntary basis. It was driven by ethics. We couldn't just sit by and think, oh, this doesn't matter to us, let these folks do what they're doing. And as a small business, we've sort of been damaged by what hasn't happened in a good way. So what we've been trying to figure over these years of our engagement to see what actually did happen. We put a big report together. It's by now the size of a book. As you know, Phil Bolger, my late husband, did publish 6 books with McGraw-Hill. There's more manuscripts in the work that go into print. This will be another one of those. And my interest is to figure out at long last what is actually the position of the city, and particularly the council. And as some of you didn't catch a whiff of last Sunday, I was up at American Legion building. There was a 2-day hackathon, gearheads dealing with ocean-centric issues, and I was invited to give it 1 hour's worth of a presentation. I've given the same talk at the Heritage Center, up and down the coast, different places, from the ocean, of the Graduate School of Oceanography, University of Rhode Island, or the Landing School of Boat Building and Boat Design in Kennebunkport, Maine. I've talked before 18 different nations, even once at an international conference, hard to believe, but that was the case. I'd like to give you folks a talk along the lines that we concluded what's gone wrong. And it is indeed the business of the city. It can't be left to some fisherman somewhere who may or may not have things under control, despite best efforts. So I've shared with you a 4-page summary, considered executive summary of the much larger report, and I propose that you or somebody's going to listen to a 20-minute, half an hour picture show, the way I did it on Sunday, instead of 1 hour. Much more condensed, more to the point, which I can actually do. And so I'd look forward to you folks responding to my proposal, and because I think it matters whether the City of Gloucester actually has policy towards it. As Councillor Hecht was asking whether numbers, there will be a couple of pages of numbers, a couple of lines of numbers in there. I can talk in with much, much more. Numbers do matter. The only reason why we've been in business for 66 years because somehow or another you make the numbers work. So we're on the same wavelength on that. So let's pursue this further, and I think it goes, certainly this is what drove us as well. We won't be embarrassed by lack of engagement. And I hope you folks won't be either, because we must engage the worst crisis in the fishing industry. You and I can't reduce fish, but we can do a lot of stuff to help the industry. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you. And do actually read those 4 pages. It's a good primer. Oh, finally, in the course of that hackathon, there's a podcast. Go on SoundCloud towards the sustainable fishing industry. It's a full hour. We recorded this on the State Fish Pier. It's nicely done. I've never done this before, so it shows. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Anyone else for oral communications? Okay, Madam Clerk, next item of business.
Next item is the confirmation of new appointment.
Thank you.
Okay, confirmation of new appointments, and Councilor LeBlanc.
Yes, we have one new appointment this evening, Sarah Stewart from the Clean City Commission. And Ordinance and Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council approve Sarah Stewart to the Clean City Commission, term to expire 2/14/21, and I so move.
Moved and seconded. Any commentary?
Yes, so Sarah came highly recommended by Ainsley, which is a good thing because we all love Ainsley. And Sarah, she also owns a local shop in Gloucester called One Love, and they donate One Ocean, One Love, I'm sorry. And they donate 5% of their sales back to keeping the oceans clean. So I think that's a cool thing for the city, and we thank you for that. So if you just want to stand up, Sarah, and say hi to everybody. So there's Sarah.
Hello. Okay, great. Anybody else? So this is just a simple majority. All those, yes. Oh, Councilor Cox.
Thank you. Sarah joined us on many cleanups as well throughout the city, so she does have good experience in what the city needs, and I think the Clean City Commission is growing stronger and stronger, and this would be a great addition.
Thank you. Councilor Nolan.
Although I do appreciate Ainsley's word on her opinion for Sarah, but I think Sarah's work towards the environment and the ocean speaks for itself, and I've seen her at many cleanup situations, and I'm very pleased for her to be here tonight, and I thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Good. Simple majority. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for agreeing to serve. Madam Clerk, next item of business.
Is the consent agenda?
Any councilors wish to pull anything off the consent agenda? Councilor Gilman.
Yep, Mr. President, I'd like to pull item 8 from the mayor's report, memorandum from General Counsel regarding technical correction to the adult use marijuana zoning ordinance.
Okay. Anything else? So with that item off, the
So move.
move to be accepted as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, Councilor Gilman.
Thank you. Given that notice to all abutters in the city and this situation is impracticable, I move that the City Council waive the notice to abutters under GZO Section 1.11.4, Section B, pursuant to memorandum from General Counsel regarding technical correction to the adult use marijuana zoning ordinance, that the council is asked to amend the zoning ordinance accordingly to set the public hearing for that matter as November 13th, and to refer the matter to the Planning and Development Committee and the Planning Board.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Just a reminder to councilors that this item is going to be going to P&D as well as to the Planning Board, and this is something that we routinely do, is to waive the notice because it affects the whole city, and so we say that we can waive the notice by simple majority. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. And with that, we will vote to accept that item from the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Is the Budget and Finance Committee report of September 20th.
Councilor Cox.
Thank you. Let's see. Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council accept under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, a federal grant passed through the Mass Executive Office of Elder Affairs through Senior Care Incorporated for a Title IIIB Older Americans Act grant for $8,190 for federal fiscal year 2018. Funds are to be used to supplement the hours and part-time salary for an outreach community educational worker at the Rose Baker Senior Center, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment on that?
It's an annual grant that we get.
Annual, okay. This is simple majority. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council accept under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, a federal emergency management agency, Department of Homeland Security, a FY 2017 Assistance to Firefighter Grant in the amount of $145,454. The purpose of this grant is to fund the retrofitting of 3 fire department ambulances with compliant stretcher loading security systems with a 10% local match funded by the City of Gloucester. The grant period of the grant is from August 30th, 2018 to August 29th, 2019, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment on that?
Another wonderful grant from the fire department. The lifespan of our stretcher systems is nearing the end, and they were able to apply and get this grant with a 10% match to retrofit all of our ambulances. And not too long ago, we took in another grant for a new ambulance, so this will mean that all 4 will be up to code.
So this was the big giant check we received at the fire station the other day?
I think that was for the
Oh, no,
ambulance.
No, we get 2. There were 2. There was one for the
There were 2?
ambulance and one for the stretchers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, yes. I actually have a full-time job and work during the day, so I can't go gallivanting with you and your giant checks.
Okay,
No.
any other commentary?
No.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Joe, thank you very much. Next
Yep.
item, Councilor Cox.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council approve Supplemental Appropriation 2019 SA5 for $14,545 from account as noted Capital Project Stabilization Fund undesignated fund balance to account as noted Capital Project Stabilization Fund EMS Equipment Vehicles for the purpose of funding a 10% local match for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Department of Homeland Security, FY 2017 Assistance to Firefighters Grant to retrofit 3 fire department ambulances with compliant stretcher loading security systems, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and this is the 10%.
This is a 10% match.
Okay, great. Any other comments about this? So roll call, please.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Heck,
Yes.
Councilor Holgren, Councilor Blank,
Yes.
Councilor Lundberg,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
The motion to approve SA 2019 number 5 in the amount of $14,545 passes on a vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Great, thank you. Next item, Councilor Cox.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council approve Supplemental Appropriation 2019 SA4 for $325,000 from account as noted Capital Project Stabilization Fund undesignated fund balance to account as noted Capital Project Stabilization Fund Public Building Professional and Technical Services for the purpose of funding a multi-year master plan for municipal buildings. And I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Description of that?
Yeah, a master facilities plan hasn't been done according to the DPW director in 2 decades. This will be a way for the city to better plan for its capital facility needs for the nearby future, we agreed that it was a good idea. I did get some emails over since Budget and Finance to now with questions about the CIAB and being a part of the capital improvement plan. They are an advisory board, and according to section 2-587, are an advisory board and will assist the community development department in developing the capital improvement plan. And we are still currently looking for volunteers for the CIAB. If anybody is interested, please send your resume and interest to the mayor's office.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from councilors? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Nolan?
Yes.
Counselor O'Hara?
Yes.
Counselor Cox?
Yes.
Counselor Gilman?
Yes.
Counselor Hecht?
Yes.
Counselor Holgren? Yes. Counselor Blank?
Yes.
Counselor Lundberg?
Yes.
The motion to approve SA 2019 number 4. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not to be skipped. Yes.
Okay, we all set? I'm sorry. The motion to approve SA 2019 number 4 in the amount of $325,000 passes on a vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you. Councilor Cox.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously that the City Council accept in. My bad. I turned it off so we could do a roll call. Sorry. Let me start over because I don't get enough of this. Budget and Finance unanimously recommended that the City Council accept in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53J, the creation of betterment reserve funds in order to reserve revenues from betterments or special assessments to repay debt issued in connection with such improvements. Acceptance of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53J will allow the creation of the following betterment reserve funds listed below and the new betterment reserve funds in the future. I ask permission to waive the reading of the several betterment funds listing. Thank you. And I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any summary?
This was one of the findings from the auditors saying that we didn't have the individual accounts set up or the acceptance of this. So this is just house cleaning.
Great, thank you. This is a roll call? No roll call. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item. Oh, next
That's it
item.
for me.
That's it for you. Madam Clerk, please call the next order of business.
Ordinance and Administration Standing Committee report of September 17th.
Councilor LeBlanc.
Thank you. We have a couple of small things this evening. The first item is Ordinance and Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council appoint all outside legal counsel for the City of Gloucester in litigation against opioid manufacturers as special municipal employees of the City of Gloucester pursuant to Gloucester Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Sections 22-44, Special Municipal Employees. And I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. You want to
Yes.
fill us in a little bit?
Yes, so we are approving the law firm of Anderson Krieger of Boston. They currently represent us in litigation, and moving forward, it makes sense to retain them as special municipal employees, just in case somebody wants to acquire them to come before a zoning board matter against the city or retain them for certain things. While they're already working for the city, it just doesn't make sense for them to be representing somebody else to you know, possibly to come to one of the boards or commissions and represent somebody else. So it just makes sense, and I spoke with Chip, and that was one of the recommendations he gave us.
Okay. Any counselor questions on that? Yes.
I think you said 22. It's supposed to be 2-44. 2-44.
44, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay, so GZO Chapter 2, Section 2-44?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, Counselor Hecht.
I recently used Anderson Krieger as our attorneys for our firm. I no longer use them. Do I need to do anything? Is that a, okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? So this is just a simple majority. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Councilor Blank.
The next item is ordinance and administration. Voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the city council permit the withdrawal without prejudice with Council Order 2018-029. Councilor Holmgren requests that the Traffic Commission review the matter of limiting amount of time and locations that commercial box trucks are allowed to park on public streets. And I so move.
Moved and seconded. It's just a withdrawal. So
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And one more for you.
Yes. Last item is ordinance and administration. Voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the city council amend the February 28th, 2017 council rules of procedure by adding rule number 17 as follows. Rule 17, civility resolution. A city council civility resolution review and approval will be placed on a city council meeting agenda during the month of January of each new term of office, and I so move.
Moved and seconded. You want to describe that, or I can? So this is, it kind of goes along with the civility resolution that we talked about last time, that we approved 2 years ago, just to make it a regular part of our annual stuff that we all approved, the civility resolution, which is just good government, right? Yes. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order is the Planning and Development Standing Committee report of September 19th.
Councilor Gilman.
We have one item, committee recommendation on a motion by Councilor Holmgren, seconded by me. The Planning and Development Committee voted 2 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council rename a new subdivision of land formerly known as 602-606 Washington Street, map 112, lots 25 and 93, with final map and lot numbers to be created by City of Gloucester assessors pursuant to GCO Chapter 21, Section 21-3, street names, subsections A through F, to be named as follows: 3A and B, Seaglass Lane; 5A and B, Seaglass Lane; 7A and B, Seaglass Lane. And I so move.
Moved and seconded. Do you want to just comment on what that's all about?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. 602-606 Washington Street is an approved subdivision. The developer has requested for visibility purposes and differentiation to include the cul-de-sac Seaglass Lane. P&D committee received the requisite recommendations from all of the departments under the Code of Ordinances, and all agreed the name change was appropriate for public safety purposes, and all other requirements under GCO Section 21-3 are met.
Thank you. Any questions from councilors? Councilor Blank?
I don't have a question. I have more of like a general statement. A few months ago, we had another applicant come up to change the name of his street or road, and we denied him. So, I mean, there has to be some type of consistency on how we do these or why we're doing these, because last time it was noted that for 911, I forget what it was, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense that we deny somebody one time and then and then somebody else comes forward and we approve it, like, there's got to be some type of, even keel on how we do this. So, going forward, I'd like to figure this out a little bit more because, the gentleman came up and there was no houses on the street that he wanted to change the name on, and we denied him. So that's just my statement.
Councilor Gilman, did you have a comment?
So Council Holmgren actually brought this up in our discussion, and it was mentioned briefly in the minutes. What the difference was in this case was that this was for 911 and safety. It's too confusing for people in the community. This particular road is very deep into the woods off Washington Street. It's definitely a very standalone road, cul-de-sac that's really almost 100 yards into the woods. And it was across the board, all the departments felt that because it was new and because they wanted to make sure that 911 and safety folks would be very clear where it was located, that was a differentiator. So we did actually talk about that at length. And I think, I think in this case it was very justified for that reason. But you brought up a good question, and we actually discussed that in the meeting.
Thank you. Yes, and we did have that discussion the last time, and there was a comment made, well, that road had already been changed once, now we're going to change it again, and I agree with you, that's not very consistent, so we got to do a better job on that. Okay. Anybody else? James, Councilor O'Hara?
Thank you. I just want to, although Councilor LeBlanc brings up a valid point, I just want to indicate that I do support this. The 911 situation is extremely important to our city and to the citizens who live on those streets, so I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? So this is a simple voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order is the public hearing 2018-50, loan order 2018-009, loan authorization, the amount of $215,000 to provide funding for the pavement of the private ways of Nashua Avenue and Diamond Avenue.
Thank you. We will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this. A resident of Nashua Avenue. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Tony Gross, 18 Nashua Ave. First of all, I'd like to thank the council in their wisdom in creating this ordinance. It's really, we found it as a huge help to us to fix a problem that's been plaguing us for quite some time. Our road was paved about 20 some odd years ago when they put in the step sewer, and I know that we all know the type of work that happened there, and that road's been degrading ever since. So the DPW has come a few times and filled the potholes, but we've been informed that private roads now are basically on their own, and after communicating that with the residents, we did the responsible thing, held multiple meetings, answered all the questions. There were several questions. And then with the clerk's office, we went through the entire process by the letter and came up with a highly successful vote of 86% out of the mandatory 75. And so, I mean, no one else came to speak because they felt that I could speak on behalf of the 86%.
Great. Thank you very much. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition? Any communications?
There are none.
No communications. Any councilor questions? And close the public hearing. Call for the committee report.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council approve the following loan order. Ordered that the City of Gloucester appropriates $215,000 to pay costs of permanent repairs, including paving to Nashua Avenue and Diamond Avenue, private ways in the city, including costs incidental or related thereto, To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7(5), or pursuant to any other enabling authority. Although any borrowing by the city to meet this appropriation shall constitute a general obligation of the city and a pledge of its full faith and credit, 100% of the amount needed to repay the borrowing pursuant to this order shall be raised in the first instance through the assessment of betterment upon the abutters of the private way, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 80, and any other applicable authority. The mayor and any other appropriate official of the city are authorized to take any and all actions necessary to assess the betterments described above, the term of which shall not exceed 10 years or such shorter time as prescribed by Mass General Law. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the costs of issuance or of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws to execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Councilor Cox, you want to?
Pursuant to Gloucester Code of Ordinance, Section 21-80 through 86, this loan order is a result of a petition by the abutters of Nashua and Diamond Avenues, both private ways to do public-private betterment project to pave their road. As all ordinance requirements have been met, this funding will enable the paving project to move forward.
Thank you. So this is our second textbook example of the right way to do these kind of loan orders for the betterments of a private road where I wanted to commend the neighbors, Mr. Gross and all of your neighbors, and Councilor Gilman for helping them and steer them through this and getting it done absolutely correctly, and it was a really good template for other ones. Councilor Gilman?
Yeah, I just want to say two things. First of all, I really did hardly anything for this, and I wanted to give a shout out to Tony Gross and also to Tom Moriarty and Jock Burnoff. They were the three tri-chairs that really made this happen. And one of the nice things about this policy, and thank you, Sean Nolan, because you're the one that really initiated this, is that it really is designed to allow people like the residents of Nashua and Diamond Ave to do this on their own. And this is what this group really did. They used the details in the documents that we've pulled together for them as a tool, and they really did a great job. I think I had only 3 calls from neighbors. 2 were for folks that weren't sure they wanted to participate. 1 was very much in favor, but just had a couple of questions. So it really worked without a lot of ward counselor intervention. And I just wanted to credit our legal department for helping with some of the paperwork on the petition, the tools, Mike Hale for his assistance, and again, a thank you to those 3 folks and to Sean Nolan for putting that together for us. It really worked great, and it's the right thing to do. So I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Councilor Memhard, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to jump in and second what Councilor Gilman just said and congratulate Tony and his neighbors on Diamond and Nashua for advancing this project to get their road paved and addressed. And as Mr. Destino in the mayor's office and Councilor Payson have said, they really did follow the letter of the law as this ordinance has been drafted. It's been tweaked and improved, and we have a good working document. It is still a labor-intensive project for any group of neighbors to undertake. It's a little daunting. I can say that as Councilor O'Hara and I were at a meeting last night on Southern Road with 20 of the 37 neighbors going through the same process. It was our 3rd meeting with a couple still to go, but you set a good example for us, and we appreciate the guidance and the leadership that you demonstrated. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilor Nolan.
I want to thank the administration and the legal staff and the DPW for most of the work that went behind this ordinance that we had done. It was a lot of ideas put forth and a lot of smart people involved in it. I'm glad that worked out for Nashua Ave, and I'm sure it's going to work out well for Southern Street. It's worked well for people in my ward. We still have some roads that we're looking at right now. However, people do have to understand that it is an undertaking of the residents themselves to take a part in this and to get the neighbors together in some of the first steps. And I believe it's the right thing to do, and it does work when the neighbors decide to do it together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Hecht.
Ditto for the beautiful job everybody eloquently stated by our council already. I just want to point out one thing. When I asked Tony in the Budget and Finance Standing Committee, how much is this per household per year? And the answer was $400, which is $33 a month. So for $33 a month for those listening at home, all roads are different. Some roads are very dense and have a lot of houses on them. Other roads are country roads, so don't take this as the price tag. But in this particular case, for $33 a month for 10 years, this new road is accomplished. So I just want to point that out for anyone listening at home and for all of our benefit, that this is really something that could be very affordable. Thank you.
The coffee.
Yep. Very good. Good point.
Yes.
Okay.
You spend more on coffee than that. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. This is a loan order, so it's a roll call.
Counselor Nolan? Yes. Counselor O'Hara?
Yes.
Counselor Cox? Yes. Counselor Gilman? Yes. Counselor Hecht?
Yes.
Counselor Holgren? Yes. Counselor Blank? Yes. Counselor Lemberg? Yes. Counselor Memhard?
Yes.
The motion to approve the loan order 2018-009 in the amount of $215,000 passes on a vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Great. Thank you, Tony. Okay, Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order of business for council vote, the motion for reconsideration, Councilor O'Hara, regarding the City Council vote of 9/11/2018 for the repeal of the existing Gloucester zoning ordinance, Section 5.31, temporary moratorium on recreational marijuana establishments.
Okay, so last meeting we approved a zoning change for retail marijuana and a couple of other changes, including the rescinding of the temporary moratorium. Under our charter, Section 11D states the clerk of the City Council shall hold every measure adopted by the council to the end of the next business day, and if during said time an intent to file a motion to reconsider the matter is filed with the clerk of the council by any member entitled to make such a motion, the measure shall be returned to the City Council for further action. So that's what happened here. Councilor O'Hara wanted to reconsider. Since he voted in the affirmative, he was qualified to do so. So here we are. We're here to reconsider. So, Councilor O'Hara, what's your reconsideration request?
Yes, I would just like to reverse my vote on this issue.
Okay. Okay, well, in that case, we need a motion.
So I move to repeal of the existing GZO Section 5.31, temporary moratorium on recreational marijuana establishments.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So this is basically the same vote. A yes is in favor of rescinding the moratorium, which we which we voted for 9-0 last time, and a no vote is not to rescind it. Okay. So roll call vote.
Councilor Nolan? Yes. Councilor O'Hara?
No.
Councilor Cox? Yes. Councilor Gilman?
Yes.
Councilor Heck?
Yes.
Councilor Holgren? Yes. Councilor LeBlanc?
Yes.
Councilor Lemberg?
Yes.
Councilor Memhard?
Yes.
Okay. The motion for reconsideration to repeal The existing Gloucester zoning ordinance, Section 5.31, temporary moratorium on recreational marijuana, passes on a vote of 8 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you. Is there another matter for council vote, or did
Yes.
we already vote? Okay.
Nope, there is. Okay.
Next order of business, Madam
Okay,
Clerk.
for council vote, the memorandum from General Counsel regarding Muni Code Ordinance Review for Gloucester zoning ordinance received 6/12/2018 by City Council through the Mayor's Report for referral to Planning Board, and council vote the waiver of notice to abutters per Gloucester zoning ordinance, Section 111(4)B.
Council Gilman?
Given that the notice to all abutters in the city and the situation is impracticable, I move that the City Council waive the notice to abutters under GZO Section 1.11.4, Section B, pursuant to the memorandum from General Counsel regarding Municode Ordinance Review for Gloucester zoning ordinance received June 12, 2018 by City Council through the Mayor's Report for referral to Planning Board, that the Council is being asked to amend the zoning ordinance accordingly to set the public hearing for that matter as November 13, 2018, and to refer the matter to the Planning Board. And I so move.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Simple majority. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Okay, is the update of the Waterways Board by Council Representative, Councilor Steve LeBlanc.
Councilor LeBlanc.
The Waterways Board is awesome. Thank you. Enough said. You guys all know.
We're going for a record here. Okay. Next order of business, Madam Clerk. I think is
Councilor's request to the mayor.
okay. So we'll start with Councilor Heck this time.
Quick update, had a great crowd on Saturday for the Lights in the Trees. We banged out
Councilors? Councilor Heck has the floor. Go ahead, Councilor Heck.
We banged out 12 trees, and it was great. We had 9 volunteers, which I really appreciate, so thank everyone who came. We have probably 20 left as we go from roughly Stone's Pub down to Flanagan's, so October 6th, 9 a.m. If you want to come and finish it off, and then I'll be buying the beers after that, then I recommend you come on by. Probably about 1 or 2 if you just want to have the beers. But if you want to get something done, come at 9. In terms of a meeting tomorrow with the Chamber of Commerce with respect to the Main Street area holiday lighting competition, which is what we're going to have with 13 categories. So if you know retailers, we'll be reaching out to them, and it should be pretty fun. And from Black Friday all the way through Christmas Eve, we're going to have everyone Facebooking and people come down to vote. There'll be 13 categories. And as of yesterday, I met with the City of Lynn, the people who do Beyond Walls at the City of Lynn, and so far for the Gloucester Murals Project, we've been to Salem and Lynn. And although our project in Gloucester will be a little different, it was really good to meet the people, and they've been very successful, and we learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gilman.
A couple of events going on in my ward. First of all, a Lanes Cove Cemetery cleanup this Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock. Please come and help. Bring your weed whacker and whatever else you can bring for tools. Also, just to remind people that the Sustainability Fair is at the O'Malley School. I believe it starts at 10 on Saturday morning. And the third thing I wanted to mention that's applicable is the youth awareness, the Moose Lodge group, the 6 Gloucester High School students that are leaders this year that are preparing to do skits in the elementary schools, grade kindergarten through 3rd grade, we're having a fundraiser at Jalapenos on this Thursday night, starting at 4:30. So they'll be giving a certain proceed to the folks who attend. So, thank you.
Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you. Just want to thank the administration everyone involved with maintaining and the operations of the beach and parking. I think this year was a very successful year, probably financially. People seem to enjoy our beaches, which are obviously extremely beautiful. I hope we can learn from some of the, not so much the issues West Gloucester had. Hopefully we can improve on that in the next 12 months or less than 12 months. We're working on Thatcher Road, and that's a great thing that will help the safety of people walking in towards the Good Harbor Beach. I want to ask the DPW if they can, and the administration, if they can continue to look at our trees along city roads. We have dead branches and completely dead trees throughout our city that in the recent storm of the heavy rains of a week or so ago, there were branches that came down with rain, with heavy rain. I can't imagine what will happen with heavy snow that unfortunately is just weeks away. Also, if we could possibly finish the crosswalks, I know they started the one at Hart Street and Bass Ave. I see a woman pushing a stroller across that particular crosswalk, and the safety of our people obviously is paramount. Also in front of the Crow's Nest, in that area, the crosswalks are it's hardly visible, and again, the safety up of those people crossing, we should really heed, and I think it's to the benefit of everyone to get those crosswalks done. We're losing temperature in doing those, so if they possibly could put time towards that. Also want to thank everyone who turned out for yesterday's blood drive at the Magnolia Library. They collected 31 units of blood and 4 units of double plasma. So thank you very much, and we'll have another blood drive in 56 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Hara. Councilor Holmgren?
Thank you. So on October 7th, there is going to be a No One Fights Cancer Alone breakfast from 8 to 12 at the DES Portuguese Club on Prospect Street. Tickets are $20 for adults. For kids 6 to 12, they're $10, and for kids under 6, it's free. You can also write a check to the Gloucester Fund, and please share it on Facebook. On Saturday, there are many things happening. There's the Sustainability Fair. There is a Community Safety Day on Harbor Loop from 10 to 2, benefiting Cops for Kids with Cancer. Women's Financial Forum at the Sawyer Free Library. Check their website for details. And Household Hazardous Chemical Disposal Day at the DPW. Please call the DPW to schedule your appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Holmgren. Councilor Memhard.
I have 3 quick items. First, doubling on what Councilor O'Hara was talking about, our Gloucester beaches are certainly a unique asset, and I'm sure that many of us have appreciated recently that our DPW and the city's efforts have been in full view on Thatcher Road, where the road is being repaved, it's being slightly widened, and there's being accommodation made for pedestrian access along Thatcher Road from Barn Lane to the Good Harbor Beach parking lot, which is a fantastic and long-sought improvement. Talking with former ward councilors, Councilor Scialino embarked on this project with Friends of Good Harbor Beach and Nugent Farm probably 17 years ago, and Councilor McGeary picked it up, but Mike Hale has seen it across the finish line, and they've done all the permitting and conservation approvals, and it's going to be an exciting improvement to the city and to our access to our beaches, both for residents and visitors, a real upgrade to the community. Secondly, I'd like to bring everyone's attention to the Topsfield Fair. Begins Friday this week through Columbus Day. It's going to be a hot heat wave right through, no rain. It's going to be a fantastic agricultural fair maintaining all kinds of tradition. And third, I would like to thank our public safety departments and all the other public safety departments on the North Shore for the response that was organized for the gas emergency in the Lawrence and Andover areas, which was surely a frightening wake-up call to many of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Memhard. Councilor Nolan.
I just want to thank everybody for their participation, with the council members and the administration at heart, with the fundraiser we had for the Magnolia Pier at the Manchester Bath and Tennis Club on Friday night. It was a great success. It was a cross between people with their time and with their wallets and a community getting together for a wonderful event that was a long time coming. It was wonderful to see generations of friends from the Manchester Magnolia area that haven't seen each other for a while. They're talking about the childhood stories of meeting and hanging out through summer beach time and raising some money while having a good time. And we have a commitment to the city to come up with our matches on this, and the administration's working very hard, and I couldn't be happier with the response that we have had so far, and we look to keep going, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have some answers on the money, and I want to thank everybody again for making it such a wonderful night.
Thank you, Councilor Nolan. Councilor Cox?
Just want to remind everybody on Thursday from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, Plastic Free Gloucester will be hosting an event at the brewery. And I also want to thank Councilor Gilman for assisting with the plastic bag ordinance at the Senior Center today. She helped Clean Gloucester Clean Commission, I can't remember which one it is, with this handout. So it has some very good questions about when things are going to be started and what to do in the future. So thank you so much for assisting them with this handout and for passing it out at the Senior Center. It is my understanding that Councilor Hecht was also there to assist, but really, thank you so much for getting this out there. In addition to all the other things that have been noted on Saturday to put on your to-do list, there is a Gloucester Harbor race with the Gloucester Gig Rowers at Niles Beach, and that's going to be most of the morning Saturday. There's also a Jill Latham Memorial game at Mados Field at 8 o'clock on Saturday. And Monday in Salem, there is a zoning and affordable housing event from 7 to 8:30 p.m. If anybody is interested in that, let me know and I'll get you more information. There is a Facebook event for it as well. On your schedules, the First R is having a reader appreciation dinner at Gloucester House on October 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. If you would like to, please come by. If you would like to volunteer to read, please let me know and I will get your information to the First R. And last but not least, happy birthday, Sean.
Thank you, Councilor Cox. Councilor LeBlanc?
All right, so this was a quick meeting, so we have a little bit before 8 o'clock, so I'm going to talk well past 8 o'clock. No, I'll be brief. So last year, I sat with the mayor. We had a brief conversation about moving Halloween to the weekend before it actually is, because it's on a Wednesday this year. So I'm going to speak with her tomorrow, but I think it's a good idea to have it on maybe that Saturday or Sunday, the weekend before, because it's on a Wednesday, and I know people get home from work, get home from school, trying to shuffle their kids out. It gets dark early nowadays, so I think, her and I are going to sit down tomorrow or the next day or so. We have plenty of time to hash this all out. Yes, and she is having a Halloween festival. So that's planned already, so I'm going to try to not screw up that for her, but and that is all for me. And just want to say hi to JD out there. How you doing, JD?
Hi, JD. Hello, JD. So I also wanted to give a shout out to the Magnolia community. The fundraiser was to help pay for the restoration of the pier, which it will get done, we all know. But the fundraiser was also a great showing of the community itself. And to the extent that we can encourage that kind of thing in our city, there are so many of these pockets of community that are so strong, and we want to encourage their cohesiveness. So that was great to see that. Second thing is I talked a little bit about having another joint meeting with the school committee. Jonathan and I met and discussed a good time. The last week of October is a week where we don't have city council or committee meetings, and so we were looking at October 30th. Jeez. And one of the reasons that we wanted to do this, and perhaps to invite the Board of Health, is now that we've legalized marijuana and we, the council, have zoned for it, we're going to have legal marijuana in our community. And there were a lot of issues raised during the handling of that matter before the council, before the advisory committee, about just the use of that new drug, if you will, in our community. And the Board of Health has a lot of health concerns, including what we say to our school kids about that. So they are eager to join us in a joint meeting with the school committee to talk about that. We've got a couple of other